Dear 2021 graduates, your families, and your friends, welcome to the graduation ceremony in the Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering Department for the class of 2021. I'm Jing Sun, the chair of the department. We are so happy to be here to celebrate this significant milestone of your life. It has been our privilege to be a part of your educational experience. Thank you for sharing your academic journey with us. You have enriched our life and you have made us proud. Thanks and congratulations also go to your family and friends. They have done a wonderful job in supporting their loved ones. Without their support, we will not be here today. When you entered the college a few years ago, I'm sure no one had expected that your 4-year college life would unfold the way it did, especially for the last year or so. We could not be in the big house to cheer our team. We had to miss the usual Friday lunch in our cozy classroom downstairs. The pandemic upended our lives and dictated our interaction models. It tested your resolve and adaptivity. In that real-world and real-time test, you all passed with a big A+. You are winners and you are champions. Congratulations to all named graduates who are getting your Michigan degrees. This is a tremendous accomplishment in your life. After all, you are graduating from one of the finest engineering colleges in the world. What you learned inside and outside the classroom, online or in person, will carry you a long way. Learning how to learn, especially in a challenging time like this, will be the most valuable asset you can take away. It will enable your lifelong learning. As you are starting the new phase of your life and heading off to great companies and exciting startups, you will join the network of over 3,000 named alumni to make the impact. You will be forever our ambassadors. So remember the wonderful years at Michigan. Reflect on the good times of this season of your life. When you celebrate your success, celebrate it as a Wolverine. When you face disappointments and setbacks down the road, also recall what you had mastered during the pandemic and how this challenging time had made you stronger. Hail to the victors. Congratulations, class of 2021, and go blue.
I would like to congratulate everyone for completing either your undergraduate or graduate studies. You had to deal with a lot during the last year and a half. So dealing with the adversity was part of the learning process. I know that you don't have the opportunity to celebrate your graduation, but the important thing is that you have plans for the future. You have gained a solid education, and you're either starting a new job or you're going to be starting graduate studies next fall. We are all very proud of you, and we are hoping to cross paths again in the near future as your career evolves. Congratulations to you and your families.
It is absolutely my pleasure and honor to introduce today's speaker, Greg Beer. Greg is the president and a principal naval architect of 2 companies, Bristol Harbor Group and the Share Group. Greg has earned both a master and a bachelor degree in naval architecture and marine engineering from the University of Michigan. He is a registered professional engineer in 7 states, including Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, and Texas. He has led and been involved in numerous innovative projects including ones involve alternative fuel, energy storage, rockets, and even robots. The breadth and depth of Greg's design work are truly amazing. Greg has served on the department's external advisory board for many years. He was the winner of the 2020 Naval Architect and Marine Engineering Alumni Merit Award. I had the real pleasure interacting with Greg in the last few years. I find his story inspiring, his passion contagious, and his vision compelling. Many years ago, Greg thanked Michigan for introducing him to his wife. 20-some years later, I want to thank Greg and his wife, Parisa, for sending 2 of their beautiful daughters to Ann Arbor. And I understand that the 3rd is also inspired to become a Wolverine. With that, now let's welcome the 2021 name commencement speaker, a real Michigan man in my definition, Greg Beer.
Dr. Sun, thank you for that introduction. Quick recap, I'm Greg Beers. I'm a 1994 graduate of the Department of Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, and I received my master's also from the department in 1995. I am a principal naval architect and founder of 2 naval architecture and marine engineering firms, Bristol Harbor Group, located in Bristol, Rhode Island, and the Shearer Group, located in Houston, Texas. First, I want to congratulate you, the class of 2021. Job well done in a very difficult time. And I want to talk about several points today, but with one main theme running through them, and that is the theme of bravery. The first of the points I want to bring up is that of dreams. You need to dream big. Life's too short to be bored. And as my Scottish mother-in-law once said, Greg, life's not meant to be that easy. And this is a comment, a saying that I've carried with me through my entire personal and professional life. But to do that, you need to be brave. And speaking of my mother-in-law, we can talk about family, which brings us to love, even passion, and dare I say, romance. In fact, 15 years ago, I gave a talk at the 125th anniversary of the teaching of naval architecture and marine engineering at the University of Michigan, entitled, Are Naval Architects Romantics? Now, my wife still makes fun of me about this. I think last weekend we were with friends and she brought it up, in fact. But of course we are. Who else becomes a naval architect? You have to love boats. You have to love the ocean. You have to love the marine environment to become a naval architect. Of course we're romantics. Having established this, we can focus on the fact that we thus know how to have a passion. And it is this passion that serves as the foundation, the basis for these big dreams I speak of. So I implore you, dream big, be brave. But don't be intractable in your dreams. You must adapt. This is my second point. If you've ever heard me speak about the opportunities the University of Michigan College of Engineering offers, you know I say you get out of it what you put into it. Personally, while I was a student at the University of Michigan, I was involved in the solar boat team, the concrete canoe team. I did independent research at the MHL, was involved in quarterdeck, even learned how to pilot an ROV, which served as a skill I needed for my first job out of college. I made the most of it. Well, your professional life is much the same. You need to take chances. You need to grab onto opportunities. You need to make opportunities happen. It is what you make of it. But in doing so, you have to learn how to adapt. Personally, I wanted to be a Navy fighter pilot. I spent my entire youth preparing for that, eventually getting into College of Engineering at the University of Michigan to study naval architecture, which was always my plan, but also into NROTC with a scholarship with the hopes of flying. But by the time I got there, I was blind. I'm wearing contacts right now. You probably couldn't even see the screen if I weren't. I had to adapt, and I chose to thus pursue my academic interests, which were that of naval architecture. But even that wasn't enough. I wanted more. My passion evolved, and I started a business. And it's continued to evolve. I've designed boats. I've built boats. I've built a business. I've sold a business. And I've bought a business. And I've made lifelong friends all along the way. And I'm passionate about all of these endeavors. There have been disappointments. I'm not punching holes in the sky, which I thought I wanted to, and flying a Cessna is not quite the same thing. But I'm very fulfilled. You have to learn from all of these experiences as you adapt. We all know failure is one of the greatest teachers. I'm not going to explain that to you. I'm sure you've read books or know this from life. But what I am going to say to you is that in order to have failure as your teacher, in order to have failure as a course in your syllabus, you have to take those chances. You have to be brave. But that's easier said than done. In order to be brave, you have to have the confidence to do it. Which brings me to my third point, that of pride. You need to be proud of your accomplishments. You need to celebrate your successes as well as learn from your failures. You are Michigan engineers. You've been through one of the toughest programs. You've done it during a global pandemic. You need to be proud of having made these accomplishments. And although you may be a bit tired of Michigan right now, you've been there for a long time, you need to remember why you came and what you've learned. And I promise you, you will want it to be part of your life as you continue in your professional career. I love Michigan. Look at me. I'm on the external advisory board. I come back for football games. I love the accomplishments of the university. I love reading about the aerospace department, our department, the robotics, the exciting things that are happening in robotics. I love our sports. Who doesn't love our sports? Who doesn't love this basketball season we just had? It's incredibly fun to follow. And I look forward to a football season eventually that we can all get excited about. And I love our community. The Michigan Alumni Network is really strong and very important. It allows you to make very practical connections all through your career. I mean, look at me. I'm married to an alum. I'm in business with an alum. I bought a business from an alum. And 2 of my 3 children, at least, are soon to be alum. I'm very proud of this fact, and I really enjoy my experiences and my interactions with the University of Michigan. And the Michigan difference is real. But in order to get the most out of it, you really need to put in the effort, take the chances, and be brave. So in conclusion, love what you do. Love what you have done. And love each other. Be brave and go out into the world and do what you need to do. Follow your dreams, follow your passions, and make us, the Michigan Engineering Alumni family, proud to count you as one of us. Go Blue.
Hi, my name is Maggie Carroll. Growing up in Chicago, I've been fortunate to have access to water for the majority of my life. Summers would be spent going to the beach or going on an architecture river cruise with my grandma, fixating on the sailboats that would leave the harbor to the lake beyond. It wasn't until I went on a research trip with the Shedd Aquarium to the Bahamas that I was actually able to spend time on the water. I had always seen boats, but never in my life had I had access to a boat that I could just hop on and off for more than just an hour. On the trip, we flew to Miami and sailed down the Miami River and by the port of Miami as well to our final destination, Bimini. I was enamored by all of the moving pieces, the stop and go traffic, the bridges being signaled, the largest boats I've ever seen in my life being maneuvered down the river into port with ease. And throughout the trip, I would talk to the captains about sailing and navigation, along with their experiences on the water. It was because of this trip that when I did get into Michigan, I decided to look into the Michigan sailing team. I had zero experience sailing, let alone any knowledge of what racing was. It was so foreign to me, but that's what made me want to learn it more. And in the past 4 years, I've had the chance to learn how to sail, compete on a national level, and gain incredible memories traveling across the country with friends. Now, my trip to the Bahamas persuaded me to take the Engineering 100 class devoted to underwater robotics as well. This class is taught by Laura Alford. And I'm so thankful that I took this class because of how well it is taught and the foundation in naval engineering it gave to me. Not to mention that Laura has been one of the only female engineering professors I've ever had. So not only was I becoming excited to build and design ROVs, but I also saw that women can and are powerful engineers, which has stuck with me. So much so that I became an instructor for that class too. And so you're probably thinking that after this class, and since I was on the Michigan sailing team, I immediately declared naval engineering. But that is far from true. Freshman and early sophomore year me didn't know what I wanted when it came to declaring. In fact, first semester sophomore year, I was taking an IOE class and a mechanical engineering one because I was debating between the two. One of my friends on the sailing team kept saying, "When are you going to declare a name? When are you going to just meet with Warren? Or come get food every Friday at the name building?" And I was terrified to go because it was so far away and it was so small, and that's what made it intimidating. Getting off the bus and walking to an area where no other engineer would touch or go is crazy. But the second I met with Warren, I was enamored with the possibility of declaring name and what that meant. Not to mention how dedicated he was to making sure I understood exactly what I was getting myself into. And that meant him talking to me and then me walking over to Dave Singer's office and Dave bringing in a PhD student to talk to me as well. It was so overwhelming, but not in a bad way. Similar to when I started sailing. I was excited because I knew nothing about the major, but I wanted to understand it more. Warren talking to me and persuading me to declare name is very common. So many students of my graduating class just ended up in this unique department, a niche area of focus, where we all want to bring our own unique spin to the fields we are pursuing post-graduation. This department gives us that opportunity to do just that because it is small. On a day-to-day basis, you can walk into your professor's office, pop into Warren's office. Warren will step into the design lab. And daily, you see these familiar faces. You grow accustomed to the people you surround yourself with, becoming a little tiny name family. Not only do you share classes together, but you can share your ideas and your passions. This ability to have your ideas and opinions heard and actually listened to is extremely special at our university. We can step up, be heard, and make change. The one caveat to our class being so small is that diversity is limited. My graduating class only has 5 females, but that has motivated me to push harder. And I think, and I believe that this is something our department has recognized. And I have hope in seeing the faces and the stories that compose our class, our other classes, and those that are yet to come. In the future, we as individuals and a class should strive to bring any and all identities to the table, to raise the voices of those who aren't being heard, because we have had the privilege of being in such a small department where our ideas were listened to and respected. Our world is changing, and it's hard when most adults keep saying it's up to engineers to save the world, because at this point, it kind of is up to us. But there are so many ways to connect our degree to small grassroots or deeply intrinsic agencies, whether that's in wind farms, solar energy sectors, regulatory policy change, investing and exploring different types of fuel, underwater conservation efforts, the list goes on. The workforces we are going into is small, but it's expansive. There are so many trails to pursue: naval, environmental, or recreational. The network is interconnected and far-reaching. And that has been a big emphasis in our department. We have the opportunity to explore whatever you are passionate about through research, design teams, meeting with industry speakers. But that's very narrow-minded perception of our class. We are not just going to class, completing assignments, taking exams, all under the branch of naval engineering. Students' passions are outside of the department as well, whether that's in sailing, robotics, photography, yoga, ROTC, basketball, the list goes on and on. We have the foundations that every other graduating class has, but those different passions make our class unique. And in the last 4 years, I've grown to become a sailor that has competed on a national level. I've interned at a shipyard that I didn't even know existed. I've gained immense experience in the classrooms of the name building, but I have also been exposed to incredible stories all across campus. I cannot wait to go into the world and start designing the next ships that will sail down the Miami River, or construct the sails boats for students to sail in, or teach students and young adults about a field many people have never even heard of. And it has been a pleasure seeing where the last 4 years have taken our class, and I'm excited to see the paths we forge for ourselves in the future. So thank you, and go Blue.
Hello, faculty, family, and friends. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Maggie Stagner. For those of you that do know me, you probably also know that I made several attempts to avoid extra schooling. But last year, when the cruise industry crashed, I was forced to change my plans. As disappointing as that reality was, I'm glad that I was fortunate enough to have such a great place to land. The past year has been full of surprises, to say the least. And as I mentioned, an extra year of school was not exactly in the books for me. I am so thankful for everyone who urged me to apply to the SUGS program at the 11th hour last year. I am also grateful to be a part of a department that will always try to make sure its students and alumni are given every opportunity they deserve. There is no one reason each of us ultimately ended up part of this department. Perhaps it was Warren and Laura at a department open house, the desire for a small community, or a long history of sailing. For me, it was the love of water. I could never look at an ocean or a lake and feel anything other than pure joy. And now I will always have an excuse to live in a coastal state. It's hard work to graduate from a University of Michigan engineering program. Before we start to fret over what comes next, let's take a moment to appreciate ourselves because we've done something pretty cool. As much as we have accomplished on our own, it's important to recognize that we could not have done this alone. Our faculty has provided us with endless support for our education and well-being. Just think of the volume of food you've consumed at department functions. Our mothers and fathers have taken panicked and ranting phone calls at all hours of the day and night. And our friends from outside the department have supported us even if they can never remember whether we are naval engineers or marine architects. But hey, is there a difference? We also would not have made it through without each other, especially for those of us coming straight from undergrad. From early morning carpools for class because we refused to take the bus, to Panda Express meals before an exam, and everything in between, we have seen the best and the worst in each other. I am better for having had the privilege to work with and spend time with my classmates. We pushed each other to learn and become better engineers. Equally important, we taught each other how to have fun through tough classes and to sometimes cut our losses. There was always someone around to pick you up when you were down, and rarely a dull moment outside of an 8:30 lecture. I have to say, I'm not exactly sure how I got the honor of being your speaker today. Having never left school or experienced much outside Southeastern Michigan, I don't know any more than the next person. All of my classmates have done great things, and I hadn't exactly planned to go through the program this year. But I guess for that reason, my experience is somewhat unique. I don't have much insight into life as a professional, and I still have a lot to learn. But what I do know is that nothing will ever go as planned. Nobody can tell us what tomorrow will bring, and we still have a whole lot of tomorrows left. There really is no agenda, no blueprint, so don't forget to take a step back from your master plan and enjoy what's in front of you. And if you wake up one day and you don't like what you're doing, it's time to do something else. That's one of the great features of our program. We learn a little bit about a lot of things, so there are countless opportunities for us. You'll always be able to find your way to something that interests you if you look a little. Now, as we move out into the world, past the city lines of Ann Arbor, I suspect that my classmates will continue to do amazing things. In a few short years, we will be the ones presenting to Quarterdeck and mentoring interns, happy to see young faces from Michigan. We will be the chaotic alumni at the annual SNAME conference. Some of us may run around the world determined to sail every sea, while others will build impressive careers from a more permanent home. Year after year, we will be proud to have been classmates with the people doing remarkable things for the industry. So, may the SNAMEs of our future contain friends from our past.
Good afternoon. My name is Warren Noon, and I'm the undergraduate advisor for the Department of Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering. It is my pleasure to present the undergraduate degree recipients for the class of 2021. Michael Bagazinski, Benjamin Baranski, Michael Beek, Teddy Briestrow, Margaret Carroll, John Cooney, Maggie Duttmers, Reese Eklund, Elizabeth Fetzner, Tristan Flannery, Keegan Flory, Jacob Frost, Matthew Georgie, Deidre Howard, Tristan Klein, Adam Magistro, Derek Miller, Matthew Moores, Gabriel Raymond, Jessica Schnabel, Nicholas Stout, Brendan Sokolsky, and Logan Friedenberg. Congratulations to all, and go blue.
I am Natalie Fiveland, graduate student advisor, and I will read the names of our master degree graduates. Rachel Marie Bielski, Samuel Birch, Thomas Bondurant, Andrew Britton, Shayan Golami, Kyle Grell, Jeb Hamill, Erica Lozon, Max Meyerson, Andrew Olson, Elaine Phillips, Matthew Pienta, Peter Rohr, Colin Chambry, Charles W. Schertzing, Mackie Stagner, Joanne Wong, Candace Rose Wywell, Jacob Wisty, Carol Denise Jin, Brandon Sowell.
Class of 2021. Over the past year, we've all been asked to take on responsibilities that none of us could have imagined 18 months earlier. I find myself giving the closing remarks at your graduation, which, to be honest, is a role I never envisioned. As I prepared these remarks, I spent a lot of time thinking about what words of wisdom or inspiration I could give in such a strange and frankly not natural setting. After long contemplation, I settled on a few ideas/concepts that have served me well over the years, and I'd like to present them to you today. The first words of wisdom come from my PhD advisor, Professor Michael Parsons, who is an emeritus faculty member of our department and alumni. Mike would often say, work hard, do what you think is right, and always maintain your ethics, and everything will work out. When I came back to the university, I was trying to get on tenure track with the hopes of getting tenure. I got a lot of advice from lots of people, some good, some bad. Well, mostly bad. Often I would go to Mike's office and ask him what he thought about the advice I was getting, and he would say, work hard, do what you think is right, and always maintain your ethics. And after what seemed like the 100th time, I lost my temper and said to him, what does any of this have to do with getting tenure? And he responded, I never said anything about tenure. I just said it would all work out. Well, he was right. And everyone that I know with fulfilling careers work hard, do what they think is right, and never waver from their ethics. The second quote / life lesson is from the poet and playwright Oscar Wilde, who said, do everything in moderation, including moderation. I think in life it is good to avoid extremes, but we should remember that we can get too extreme or obsessed about moderation itself. You should go off and experience life both professionally and personally. You should go dive into the water head first, but you should also check to make sure the water's at the right depth. Lastly, a little advice from my father, who would always say, life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Interestingly, a self-fulfilling prophecy is actually a psychological phenomenon. And that phenomena is based on the idea that of someone expecting something and this expectation coming true simply because the person believes it will, and the person's resulting behaviors align to fulfill the belief. You're all very, very bright and driven. You've all been given a great education that has prepared you well for a long, fulfilling career, even if the last year of education was not as originally envisioned. At this point, all you have to do is believe in yourselves. I know this sounds cliche, but it's true. If you want to have a great day, you will. And if you want to have a bad day, you'll make it so. So go off and decide to have a great day. Now it's time for the tassel turn. Graduates and families, I have the honor on behalf of the faculty at the College of Engineering, University of Michigan, to present these candidates for degrees in the Bachelor of Science and Engineering, Master of Science and Engineering, and finally, Doctor of Philosophy. Representing the authority vested with the Dean by the Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you the appropriate degrees for which you have qualified. We extend to you our sincere congratulations. Undergraduates, you may now change your tassels from right to left. Let's hear it for the class of 2021. On behalf of the College of Engineering, faculty and staff, again, congratulations to all of the graduates and their families. Thank you for joining us today, and forever, go blue!